What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. We have a good one today. We got a really good one today. I'm really excited to talk about this. We're talking about where is your fruit. I'm not talking about like apples or oranges or anything like that. Nothing off a tree. I'm talking about something really deeply rooted in your soul, in your heart, in your actions, in everything you do. Everything you do. I'm talking about the fruit of the Spirit, because the Spirit lives inside all of us, and the fruit of the Spirit is something we have to cherish and represent in our everyday lives. It talks about this in Galatians 5:22 through 23. It says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." These aren't just suggestions, they're the evidence of God living inside of us every single day. This is evidence of God growing inside of us every single day. We have to take these fruits and we have to represent them. It is so easy today to be known as a Christian. Just to, like, anyone can say they're a Christian nowadays. All it takes is you to repost a sermon clip. All it takes is you to put a Bible verse in your bio. All it takes is for you to wear one of these, a cross necklace. That's as easy as it is. Once you do that, you're considered a Christian by all. Is that really what being a Christian is? Is that really what being a Christian is? Ask yourself that. Some people think being a Christian is just knowing that Jesus is God. Well, let me tell you, if you think you're a Christian just because you know that Jesus is God, you're not a Christian at all. You're not a Christian at all. You want to know who also thought Jesus was God? You want to know? The devil. The devil also thought that. You're no better than the devil if you claim that you're a Christian and it's only because you believe Jesus is God. If Jesus came to earth and the whole point of him dying for us was just so that we could believe he was God, if that was the whole point, man, he wasted a lot of time telling us how to live our life. And I talked about that in the last episode because I'm very heavy on that. When I heard that one time, I knew that was going to be something I told people for the rest of my life. It's so easy for people to know you as a Christian, but Jesus didn't say that you'll know them by their church attendance. Jesus said you will know them by their fruit. It says that in James 2:17. James 2:17. So I'm not asking if you believe in God. I'm not asking you. No, actually, James 2:17 says faith without works is dead, but Matthew 7:16 is you'll know them by the fruits of their spirit. James 2:17 says faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. If you have faith that Jesus is God, if you have faith that there's a heaven out there, a hell out there, if you believe the Christian faith, then you need to walk it. Because your faith does not matter if you don't represent the works. If you really believe Jesus is God and you believe that you can have a relationship with Jesus, why do you brush off all of his commandments? Why do you brush off what he taught you? Jesus came to earth to have a relationship with you, and you would never hurt the person who you have a relationship with. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend, would you ignore every single thing they told you? No, you love them, you care about them, and you would follow what they asked of you. You would do that for them because you love them. And if you don't follow Jesus' commandments, how can you say that you love Jesus? How can you say that? So I'm not asking if you believe in God. I'm asking, does your life show it? Do you represent that in your everyday life? Do you represent that you love God? If you were to be followed by someone, not only on Sundays, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, would you represent Jesus in everything you do? In everything you do. If some random person who didn't know you followed you around all the days of the week, except for Sunday, would they be like, man, I see Jesus in that person? Would you point them to Jesus? Would you? That's the real question. That's what matters most. Where is your fruit? Where is your fruit? And yeah, a lot of people say, oh, well, God knows my heart. Yeah, that should scare you. That should scare you that God knows your heart. Because if you are not hungering and thirsting for righteousness, if you are not trying every single day to get closer to God, to follow God's commandments, to point people to Jesus, you should be very scared that God knows where your heart is. And this is the part that nobody wants to hear. Just because you say you're a Christian doesn't mean you are one. It does not mean you are a Christian. It's not about what you say with your lips. It's about how your actions reflect it. A real Christian doesn't just believe in Jesus. They obey him. They follow him. They pick up their cross daily. Every single day, they pick up their cross. Not perfectly, but faithfully. And I say this in every single episode. Every episode I make is about stuff I'm struggling with. There are more times than not that I don't devote enough time to Jesus. Yes, I went to church this morning. I'm making this video on a Sunday. I went to church this morning, worshiped God, prayed to God before church, after church. I talk to God all the time. Jesus is one of my best friends. But you know who I am? I'm not a good person in my roots. And that's what being a Christian is about. It's about knowing we're not good, but we need somebody who died for us so that we can live through his grace. I'm not a good person. And even though Jesus is my best friend, the closest person to me, I still don't follow him perfectly. I still mess up every single day. I read my Bible. It says all these things, countless things. It says flee from temptation. You know what I do? I have a big ego. And you know what I try to do? I try to fight temptation all the time. All the time. All the time. And Jesus doesn't tell us to do that. I'm not perfect, but I'm faithful because I know the one who loves and cares about me. His grace restores me when I fall short of him. And I crave and thirst and hunger for righteousness every single day. And I point myself and hopefully the people around me closer to God because that's what I feel like my call was. And that's what all of our call was. God didn't call the greats. He didn't call the strongest, the fastest, the smartest. He called the weakest. He called the people who needed it. He called the not very gifted people. He called all of these people who thought, man, I could never deserve it. I never deserve it. And he turned them into greats. Look at David. Look at David. Just take a look at David, for example. Take a look at Solomon. Yeah, Solomon was the wisest, but he had 700 wives. 700. Or I think it was 400 wives and like 300 girlfriends or something. That's besides the point. He didn't call the greatest. He called the messed up, the wicked, the people who needed it the most. And Jesus said you can spot a real Christian by the fruits of their spirit. By the fruits of their spirit. So what is fruit? Fruit of the Spirit is change. It's growth. I'm not asking you to be perfect. God's not asking you to be perfect. The Bible is not a rule book. It is a love letter to us, showing us that there is hope out there. There's hope out there for people like us who need it. For people who know that they're messed up. For people who have depression. For people who have anxiety. This is a love letter telling us that those chains can be broken off. And we can have God's love written on the tablet of our heart. There is hope for us. Fruit is what's naturally come out of someone who's been in love with the Father, with Jesus. You used to be angry all the time. Now there's peace inside of your heart. You used to be addicted. Now you walk in freedom. Now those chains are broken, snapped. Those ropes are loosened. You used to chase attention. Now you serve people. That's fruit. You used to be impatient with people. You used to get short-tempered, but now you have peace and there is patience in you. And you might pray to God, oh God, Lord, give me patience. Lord, give me patience. Do you think if you pray to God for patience, he's going to give you patience? No. He's going to give you opportunities to be patient. Do you think if you pray to God for peace, he's going to give you immediate peace? Just like that, like he's a genie in a bottle? No, he's going to give you opportunities to be peaceful. If you pray to peace, he might bring a lot of struggles your way. He might put you around people who don't look to the Father. And he will give you that situation so that you can separate yourself from those people, so that you can have peace. It is your choice to have peace. It's your choice to have peace. You know, I feel stressed out a lot of the times. You know, sometimes I'll pray to God, God, just give me peace, Lord. Give me peace. Let me be kind to people. Let me serve people. Let me just help people. Let me just, take this stress away from me, God. Let me just relax. Let me have peace. And then you know what happens next? I got a 7.5-hour shift to go work. And I'm like, dang God, really? Really, I prayed for you to just kind of take the stress off. No, what God did is he put me in a stressful situation so that I can adapt to that. I can represent the fruits of the Spirit to people. I can serve people like I just prayed for. He's giving me those opportunities to work exactly how I prayed for it. He's not just you can't wish to God for $1 million and he just puts $1 million in your hand. No, he guides you in your life to help you make that $1 million. That's the type of God that loves us. That's the type of God we love, we serve. A God that helps us be strong. We might pray to God for strength, and he'll put us in a situation where we need to be strong. If you've been following Jesus for years and still look, talk, and act like the world would live, you might not be following Jesus at all. You might be following your feelings and just calling it faith. In Matthew 7:16, you will recognize them by their fruits. When you see somebody, you should be able to see Jesus in them. When somebody looks at you, do you think that they would see Jesus? Or do you think they would see someone who just does whatever they please, whatever they think's right? Someone who cusses, someone who has sex with people, someone who is addicted. Well, addiction isn't always a bad, it's not always, it's a bad thing. I shouldn't have said addiction, because addiction is a real thing. But it's somebody who just is addicted to their own ways, is what I should have said. I don't mean addiction in the sense of a drug or anything like that, but I mean addicted to their own ways. Someone who's addicted to their own ways, someone who loves herself so much that they don't even care about what God thinks. They don't even care about what God thinks. They just brush it off their shoulders. How is that going to represent God? Someone who just cares about what they want. Like I said, James 2:17, faith without works is dead. Yeah, you can believe in Jesus, but do you represent it through your works? Do you represent it? In Titus 1:16, they claim to know God, but their actions deny him. How can you claim to know somebody, but not follow them? What if someone came up to you and asked you, oh yeah, you're Jackson's girlfriend, right? Oh, okay, yeah, so where is he right now? I don't know. Oh, what's his favorite color? I don't know. Oh, didn't he say that, he didn't want you hanging around those people? Yeah, but, I mean, whatever, I just kind of... If you are choosing what you think is right over God's way, let me break the news to you. You're going to the throne that God sits on, and you're shoving him off, and you're saying, God, I know you have your way, but I don't trust that you're going to make my situation right. Whatever you tell me, that's cool, but I want to take the steering wheel for a minute. Let me sit in the throne for a minute, and then don't worry, you can get your spot back in a minute. Let me just do what I want. That is not what God called us to do. That is not at all what God called us to do. He called us to follow him, to serve. In Galatians 5:22-23, the fruit of the Spirit is love. Do you love on people? Do you want to show Jesus' love in everyone? The fruit of the Spirit is joy. Joy because you know you have a God who looks out for you, who loves you, who cares about you. Peace. If you have the fruit of the Spirit inside of you, or if you have the Spirit inside of you, and you are hungering and thirsting for righteousness, and you are doing what's right in God's eyes, and you are seeking him, there will come peace. There will come patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are all fruits of the Spirit. So once you seek the Spirit, once you seek Jesus, once your eyes are focused on Jesus, the fruits of the Spirit will follow. Don't get it twisted. Fruit isn't you trying harder. Fruit is what comes when you really surrender yourself. You really got to surrender yourself to God to have these fruits come out. If God lives in you, something's got to show. Something's got to show. You know what I'm saying? Think about it like this. There's a shower, right? You watch somebody walk into a shower. You expect them to come out clean. If they're covered in mud and they walk into a shower, you're going to be like, oh, well, they'll come out clean. What would you do if you saw a shower and someone walked into it and walked right back out muddy? You'd be like, what? They went into the shower. Same way when we go to God, we're going to come out representing the fruits of the Spirit. Is that not the same thing? Please tell me that's not the same thing. When we thirst and hunger for righteousness and we go to Jesus and we're like, Jesus, help us. I want to follow you. I want to fully submit myself to you, Jesus. I lay everything down. I want to follow you, Jesus. Use me, Lord. We're going to change. The fruits of the Spirit will come out. This isn't about being perfect, but it's about hungering and thirsting for righteousness. I keep saying it, but I mean it every single time I say it. Every single time. Every single time. The reason some of y'all don't see fruit is because you've never actually given God your life. Giving God your life isn't just believing. Giving God your life isn't just going to church. Yeah, you might have just went to Fuge, but did you give God your true full life? Or did you just give God your life while you were at Fuge? Were you saved at Fuge and now you're not representing it when you come back home? What is the fruit of the Spirit representing in your life? You might have gave him your Sunday. You might have gave him your playlist, but you didn't give him your habits. You didn't give him your phone. You didn't give him your pride. And now you're mad that you're not growing. Now you're like, Jesus, how do I get closer to you? And these are things I struggle with. That is why I'm making this episode, because these are things I struggle with. I love Jesus to death. Praise you, Lord. I love Jesus to death. But there are still times when I don't fully submit to him and I don't always follow him. But I want to, and I'm trying. And the thing about me is that I'm growing in the Spirit. These fruits are coming out. These fruits are coming out. And I am really hungering and thirsting for the righteousness. I know that's like the 50th time I've said it, but I want it. I want to have that relationship with Jesus, and I am looking for it every single moment of every single day. You can't expect to walk in freedom while still flirting with bondage. You're praying for peace, but you're still holding on to that sin like it's a safety blanket. Whoever's watching this, you watching this right now, there might be one thing that you're struggling with. One thing you're struggling with really hard. I want you to think about that, because I know you know exactly what I'm calling out. There might be that one thing that you're holding on to for comfort, but you know who's a greater comfort than that? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ didn't die so you could sin. He didn't die for freedom to sin. He died for freedom from sin. Jesus died so that we don't have to sin anymore, not so that we could sin. If you're sinning and you're like, oh, well, God's going to forgive me anyways. Really? Really? That is a horrible thing to say. That is a horrible thing to do. We all need a reality check, because the people who say, God knows my heart, yeah, you should be scared of that. I know I said that earlier, but you should be scared of that if you aren't looking to Jesus. You aren't looking to Jesus. We all got to hunger and thirst for this. We have to go closer to Jesus. If you claim to be a Christian, you cannot be a Christian without representing it. So here it is. Here's the call to action that I have in every video. Don't check your Spotify history. Don't check your search history. Check your spiritual fruit. Don't look at your church attendance. Look at your spiritual obedience to God. It's not chains. God's not chaining you saying, follow my rules, follow my rules. He's saying, follow me, because I know what's best for you. And I love you and I care about you. And I'm tired of seeing you get hurt in the sinful, evil, wicked, demolished world you live in. I care about you. Please let me save you. Let me help you live a peaceful life. Don't post about Jesus. How about you go out and you live like Jesus? And these are all things I'm struggling with. So don't take this video as if I'm perfect and I'm telling you guys that you aren't perfect. I'm telling you guys that I'm not perfect, but I know what I'm going through, and I'm trying to make these videos so that you guys don't have to struggle like I am. You guys don't have to struggle like I am. If there's no fruit, then you gotta stop pretending. Jesus doesn't want your Instagram bio. He wants your whole life. He wants your love. He wants your attention. Praying to Jesus doesn't have to be, oh, art thou Father who, it doesn't have to be big words. It doesn't have to be big words. It has to be like, man, Jesus, I'm having a really hard day today, Lord. I just don't know what to do. Lord, this anxiety is just, it's killing me. I don't know what to wear to school tomorrow. My teammates are judging me, Lord. Or it could be something as stupid as, Lord, man, do I get Chick-fil-A or do I get McDonald's today? It could be something as simple as that. God doesn't want your fancy words. He wants you to be real with him. He wants you to love him because he's a good father and he cares about you. He cares about you and he loves every single one of you. And he wants to have that relationship with you. That's what he wants from you. So check yourself today. See if you're really representing God in everything you do. Every single thing you do. Now I'm going to close in prayer. Jesus, thank you so much for just allowing me to make another one of these episodes, God. I just thank you for this message I've shared, and I pray that you just put it on people's hearts. Anybody who watches this, I just pray that you reveal things to them. You show them your love. You show them how to represent you in every single thing they do, God. I pray that maybe one person who watched this video really feels the message behind this and says to themselves, man, I have been lukewarm and I haven't been following Jesus the right way. And I hope and pray that somebody gives it to you today, God. We thank you so much for all that you do, Lord. And it's in your precious, perfect, beautiful, mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am so grateful that I get to continue to make these podcast episodes. There's a lot of the times where I just feel pressure not to make them anymore. And, you know, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily embarrassing, but you can imagine the feeling of having a lot of people around you who don't understand what you're talking about, first of all, but then to make a YouTube channel and share it, you know, and I record this on my phone. Like I just went back and looked at the video that I made with Landon, the Old Friends New Faith video. Yeah, the quality was freaking awful. I'm not sure what happened, but you know, it's not embarrassing, but it's hard. It's hard to keep that motivation. I just pray that you guys send prayers to me, and I just ask that you send prayers and, you know, just help me continue making these videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to try to upload videos as much as I can from now on. I thank you guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.